Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. I am Twyla Thompson with the details. The new government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines was sworn in yesterday at Arnesville, where Prime Minister Dr. Godwin Friday formally presented his 17-member cabinet, including 2 senators and a newly appointed Attorney General. The ceremony marked the official start of the New Democratic Party's administration following its landslide victory at the polls. Among the notable appointments is Sarah Louise Mitchell, who has been named Attorney General. She is the daughter of the NDP's founder and former Prime Minister, the late Sir James Mitchell. The 2 senators appointed were Lavon King and Chieftain Neptune. Neptune was sworn in as Minister of State in the office of the Prime Minister, while King will serve as Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Vocational Training, Innovation, and Digital Transformation. A full list of ministers and portfolios are Dr. Godwin Friday, Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Legal Affairs and Justice, Economic Planning and Private Sector Development; St. Clair Leacock, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security and Immigration; Daniel Cummins, Minister of Health, Wellness and Energy; Andrew John, Minister of Housing, Urban Development, Land Management and Informal Settlement Upgrading; Dwight Fitzgerald Bramble, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investments and Diaspora Affairs; Conroy Huggins, Minister of Fisheries, Marine Conservation and Climate Resilience; Israel Bruce, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Rural Transformation; Kashaka Cupid, Minister of Youth, Sports, Culture and Creative Industries; Dr. Kishore Shallow, Minister of Tourism and Maritime Affairs; Lavon Gibson Velox, Minister of Family, Gender Affairs, Persons with Disabilities, Occupational Safety and Labor; Nigel Stevenson, Minister of Transport, Infrastructure and Physical Planning; Philip Jackson, Minister of Education, Vocational Training, Innovation and Digital Transformation; Siobhan John, Minister of Social Welfare and Community Empowerment, Disaster Management and National Heritage; Terence Oliver, Minister of Higher Education, Grenadines Affairs, Local Government, Airport and Seaport; Senator Lavon King, Minister of State, Ministry of Education, Vocational Training, Innovation and Digital Transformation; Senator Chieftain Neptune, Minister of State, Office of the Prime Minister, Ambassadors and Diplomatic Representatives. Diplomatic representatives attended the ceremony, including Taiwan's Ambassador Fiona Fan. In his address, Prime Minister Dr. Friday reiterated that his government will serve all Vincentians, regardless of political affiliation. He urged his cabinet members to remember that they were chosen by the people and must operate with humility and accountability. He emphasized that the new administration will work closely with citizens and, importantly, listen to their concerns.
It will be a government that listens. As I have said many times before to my colleagues, and I say here now again, we cannot represent you unless we find out from the people what you want us to represent you about. Even as we are being sworn in as ministers of government, we must remember it all started for each of us by first being elected by the voters of our respective communities. They elected us not as ministers, but as their representatives. We must never forget this. And if we do so at our peril. So my colleagues, I remind you again, stay close to the people. Be accessible. Be attentive. Be a friend before you are.
Dr. Friday reaffirmed several campaign promises, including tackling the rising cost of living. He also pledged to make education more accessible, revealing that college entry fees will be abolished as part of the broader reforms to ease the financial burden on families.
You can expect a government that works for you. In me, you will have a Prime Minister who works for all our people. You will have a Prime Minister who understands and accepts that my primary responsibility is to work every day to make life better for you. I cannot sleep well when a mother has to choose among her children who will attend school in a day because she cannot afford to send both. I cannot sit comfortably when young people are locked out of the economy and unable to find employment or to afford to further their education. I have said, and I repeat here, that I am committed to making it more affordable for our young people to achieve an education, and in so doing, that the admission fees to community college, we will start there, will be abolished. And that secondary school fees will also be made easier for families and their children.
The Prime Minister stressed that the people of SVG will remain at the center of all policy decisions and encouraged the public to hold his government accountable.
I know I am here to serve you. I beg you, don't ever let me forget that. High office should not increase the distance between the people and those whom they have chosen to represent them. Rather, it should provide opportunity to affect more lives for the better. So it is all the more important that we remain close and connected to the people, seeing their problems as our own, taking their hopes and expectations as our marching orders, making their priorities our priorities. If we do so, our country will be better for it. Our democracy will be strong and vibrant. It will not just be a 5-year exercise, but will be continually renewed through our contact with the people and will be vibrant and responsive.
Job creation and attracting new investment, he added, are key priorities already in the pipeline. During his address, Dr. Friday thanked his predecessor, former Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, as well as members of the previous administration for their years of service to the nation.
I wish to thank the former Prime Minister Gonsalves and all of those who served in the previous government for their service to country. We may have differed about approaches, but I never question the intentions of anyone who offers themselves to serve.
Governor General Dame Susan Duggan congratulated the new cabinet and urged them to serve to the best of their ability. She reminded ministers that challenging decisions lie ahead, but stressed that they must always act in accordance with their roles, responsibilities, and the best interest of the Vincentian people.
Today, under the authority of our Constitution, the supreme law of the land, you are called to serve with integrity, to uphold national unity, to safeguard the rule of law, and to practice good governance. As stewards of our democracy, you are entrusted with the responsibility to nurture the values and aspirations that define us as citizens of a proud and progressive nation. While we look after national needs, a global presence with sound foreign policy and diplomacy is necessary to survive in these troubling economic times. I wish to take this opportunity to say to you, newly elected members, that public service is very rewarding, and it is what you have all been sworn in here today to provide. I can only implore you to take the task assigned to you seriously and go out there and serve to the best of your ability. You can only do your best.
Delivering the charge to the government and people, Pastor Brent St. John appealed for national unity. He encouraged Vincentians to work together with the new administration toward the betterment of the country.
That I want to share with us before I have my seat. Number one, the prophet said to do justly. Justice is more than fairness. It is the commitment to treat every Vincentian, rich or poor, from tongue or country, young or old, Labour or NDP, with equality and dignity. I charge you this afternoon to ensure that the decisions that you make uplift the vulnerable, protect the marginalized, and confront any system that creates or perpetuates inequality. Let justice be your compass, your guide for all your policies, your priorities, your distribution of national resources. Number two, the prophet says to love mercy. I am sure that when people hurt us, the easiest thing to do is to seek revenge. Am I talking truth? Mercy calls leaders to be an honest heart and a compassionate spirit. Let integrity be your constant companion, unbending, unbought, and unbroken. May you speak truth even when it is inconvenient. Choose transparency even when secrecy is easier. And extend compassion even when criticism comes quickly. And I want to say this to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I know many of us are angry. I know many of us have been hurt. I know many of you believe that we have placed these men and women into office to give us revenge, to hurt those who hurt us, to criticize those who criticize us, and then we will feel vindicated. But we need to change the paradigm here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's not about revenge. It's about mercy. It is about justice. It's about standing for Jesus Christ.
Former Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves told radio listeners today that he is encouraged by the continued solidarity and resoluteness shown to him and his party following last Thursday's election, in which his Unity Labour Party, ULP, suffered a crushing 14-1 defeat at the hands of the New Democratic Party, NDP. Last Saturday, Gonsalves addressed the nation, acknowledging the defeat and saying that he will assume the role of opposition leader. He urged party supporters not to wallow in their sorrows. His sentiment he reaffirmed during today's radio address.
I was basically making the point that we need to have renewal of the party. The line of march is straightforward. Renewal of the party, and we will rise again. Secondly, the question that we have to watch out to make sure that in all our communities, the gains that we have secured over the years are not rolled back, and that those gains are advanced further. That's the second thing. Thirdly, we have to be very strong on fighting back against any political persecution or victimization. And fourthly, we have to be very alert and to fight back against any attempts by anyone to sell out our country and our patrimony. In the latter regard, already I've seen public statements by a few quote-unquote foreign vultures who want to swoop down to get the passport cheap now. A passport, they want the selling of passport and citizenship. And already you're seeing some of the vultures hovering That is a matter which is going to be met with much resistance by the general public. And we have to protect our patrimony.
Regarding his post-office security detail, Gonsalves noted that during his administration, there was a cabinet decision providing security to former prime ministers and governor generals. As a former prime minister, he said he expects such courtesies to be extended to him. Though he did not specify what form they should take, it is not yet clear whether a formal security detail has been assigned.
A committee was set up pretty early in our administration to deal with this. 3 persons. And the NDP leadership knows about what had been offered and what had been accepted by and what is the situation for both in the case of Sir James and also in the case of my brother Anim. You know, so I don't need to speak publicly about those things. Certainly not at this time. I may at some future date.
Yes, PM.
But these are things. There are people, a lot of people talking out of ignorance and wanting some kind of a revenge for what I don't know. And I even note that the pettiness goes to the extent of my portrait, which was at the airport. But there's more than one portrait, because I think one was in the ante room before you entered the VIP lounges, one of me and of the Governor General, and there was one downstairs.
Yes.
Now, you can remove it as much as you want. You can't remove the historical fact that is under Ralph's leadership that the airport was built. You know, you can't be engaged in a Stalinist denial, you know. You know, the facts are the facts.
Pointing out that he is not going anywhere, the former Prime Minister said he prays for continuing strength for himself and his family as he transitions into his new role.
Everybody knows who I am, and you know my record, and those who are interested in pulling me down can go ahead. None of that disturbs me one iota. I'll continue to do what I consider to be correct, what is right in all the circumstances, and to do so in a reasonable and measured manner, and always with love for our country, which I have devoted my life, love for our people, whose development I treasure greatly.
Yes.
And I am looking forward to this new phase in my political life. As I said, fate, history, and circumstance have conspired to accord me the role that I now have to play. And once God continues to give me the strength and the good health to continue, I shall, in conjunction and in solidarity with the Labour family and those who have temporarily left the Labour family, and those who from the Labour family who, for one reason or the other, mistakenly, in my view, stayed away from the polls. But all that's
With a new government now in place, President of the Cannabis Revival Committee, Junior Spirit Cuttle, says he is ready to work collectively with the incoming administration. Cuttle, who was previously stated that he is not a supporter of the New Democratic Party, emphasized that the development of the cannabis industry must remain above political differences. Cuttle noted that his priority is to ensure continuity in the work already underway to build a regulated and sustainable cannabis sector. He said in the interest of the industry and the many people who depend on it, they will work with the new administration.
Personally, I'm not a supporter of the New Democratic Party. And I want to make that clear, because we are still in the election fever. And I want to make a distinction between the governance of the country and the political party. However, I am a traditional cultivator of cannabis, and I'm the president of the Cannabis Revival Committee, a traditional growers organization. And so I want to extend warm congratulations to the New Democratic Party for its victory at the November 27 polls. We, the traditional cultivators, look forward towards working with the new administration in developing a medical cannabis industry.
Cuttle added that the committee's first order of business will be to engage in open dialogue with traditional cultivators. He stressed that these farmers, many of whom have been cultivating cannabis for generations, continue to face significant challenges, including market instability, limited access to financing, and unresolved regulatory hurdles. He emphasized that any meaningful cannabis policy must take into account the experiences and needs of these cultivators, noting that their expertise and livelihoods must be protected as the industry evolves.
Let us talk. Let us look at the state of the industry. Let us look at where we are. Let us look at the possibilities. Let us look at the challenges, especially as it relates to traditional cultivators. And let us do it in the best interest of our people and our country, particularly the best interest of the traditional cultivators who has been suffering more than anyone else. Well, I tell you, cannabis is being produced, cannabis is being dispensed, but a lot of the things that we had hoped for, particularly the exportation of cannabis, has not been realized, particularly from the perspective of the traditional cultivators. And that has to do with the international regulations. It is so rigid.
The Cannabis Revival Committee has long advocated for a balanced and transparent approach to cannabis reform, aiming to create opportunities for local farmers while ensuring responsible and compliant industry practices. Today is International Day for Persons with Disabilities here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and President and Voice of the Disabled, Cheryl Adams, says that although a planned activity to mark the day did not take place, her message to the community remains one of resilience and determination. Adams is encouraging persons with disabilities to stay steadfast as they continue striving for improvement in their lives and advocating for full inclusion in society.
Celebrated under the theme Fostering Disability, Inclusive Societies of Advancing Social Progress. So this simply means to provide opportunities for everyone to reach their full potential. On behalf of the other organizations throughout SVG that are representing the differently able, We would like to encourage them to continue to fight on and to continue to reach for the sky, which is the limit.
Adams noted that with the new government now in place, the organization looks forward to building a strong working relationship with the new administration. She expressed optimism about collaborating with the 2 female ministers whose portfolios touch those of disability affairs and social development. The Voice of the Disabled President said that there are several pressing issues affecting persons with disabilities that urgently need attention and implementation. These include improvements in accessibility, employment opportunities, social support systems, and policies that protect the rights and dignity of persons living with disabilities.
I especially want to congratulate our 2 female ministers, Honorable Lavon Villox Gibson. Well, she's new to me, so I hope I have her name right. And to Honorable Siobhan John. I just want to welcome them to the Ministry of Mobilization. And to Honorable Lavon, the Minister for Persons that are differently able. I am looking forward to be working with her closely. And one of the things I am sure I can speak on behalf of the other organizations in SVG that represent persons with disability, we are looking forward to see the Act to Govern Persons with Disability come into play. So I just want to wish, the new government all the best. And I'm looking forward to working with them closely and share a good partnership and relationship.
International Day for Persons with Disabilities is observed annually on December 3rd and aims to promote the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities in all spheres of society.